If you don't want to work with me because I'm wearing a mullet, I probably don't want to work with you. You're probably going to be a horrible buyer. I'm probably going to hate my life for the next 2 months. It's just going to be better that you just don't call me. If you're that offended, if you're that, I mean,
Welcome back to the walkthrough, where we walk you through this week's trending topics in real estate. I am your host, moderator, and captain of BAM, not a big deal, Dan Oneil. And for the second week in a row, I've been left in the dust. If you've been a fan of the show from day one, you know that normally I am joined by either Darth Byron Lazine or Mr. Eric Brook Agent Simon. But Byron is busy podcasting with Tom Ferry, and Eric is touring Southeastern Asia, washing elephants on his honeymoon. So here we are. But good old Danny Deals, not to pat myself on the back, working my fingers to the bone. I have put together an historic, first time ever in the history of BAM episode and panel that includes an all-female cast of superstars. Who runs the world?
Girls.
Who runs the world? Let's go. All right, joining me today, backed by popular demand, arguably the most requested, commented for, like the most liked episode we've ever had ever. People have been begging and pleading to have you back on. Over 100 comments on the last episode. She helped me put together this episode. You literally are the episode. Welcome back, Miss Lindsay Joe. How are you today?
I'm good. That was an awesome intro. You crushed it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I worked very hard on that. That's about the only thing I did on this episode. You basically did all the rest. We are also joined by first-time guest and social rock star Lexi DiPasquale from Maryland and Southern Pennsylvania. How you doing, Lexi?
I'm doing great. How are you, Dan?
I am doing fantastic. I appreciate y'all being here. And we also are joined first-time ever walkthrough guest, Miss Lindsay Bruhan of EXP, all the way from Lauderdale, Florida. And Lindsay, welcome. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me, Dan and Lindsay. I appreciate it.
Of course. And today we are talking people choosing travel over homeownership, how that could potentially affect the housing market down the line, big changes to Real Brokerage. Are we back in the 2021 market? And I'm sure a whole lot more. But first, a word from our sponsors. And usually this is where Eric would take off his braces and do the KCM ad read. But I guess, like always, I guess I will do it. The Walkthrough Podcast is presented by Keeping Current Matters, your go-to source for the insights and content you need to be market expert. KCM is the best in the business at taking the latest housing data and curating it into powerful visuals and marketing content for video and social media that help you look great and give you tons of value to your clients and prospects. At a time when the market's changing and consumers are asking questions most agents don't know how to answer, KCM makes it easy to build your brand as the market expert. Check out trykcm.com/BAM so you can master the market and your marketing today. Wouldn't be an ad read without a voice crack, right, ladies?
Amazing. Crushed.
All right.
Crushed it.
Thank you. I love the positivity. Like normally we're just all chirping each other. Everyone's making fun of each other. You guys are like, oh, we all look great. We look good. We look handsome. The vibes are incredible versus our normal episodes. All right. Topic number one. You can live at sea for $30,000 per year on this cruise ship that will circle the globe for 3 years. This is an article from Business Insider. This will be in the show notes. During this 3-year trip, passengers will see 7 continents while visiting destinations like, I don't know, the several wonders of the world, Half Moon Island, Antarctica, I'm not even going to go on. There's basically you're traveling the world for 3 years. The idea behind it is that this 3-year long cruise, most around the world cruises spend several hours or up to 2 nights at a port of call. In this instance, you'll be there for much, much longer. A normal trip to any of these locations could cost the typical globetrotter hundreds of thousands of dollars in travel and accommodation fees. Essentially, the article is saying that Life at Sea is targeting a younger demographic, pre-retirees, generally people between 55 to 65 years of age. So could we potentially see an influx of home inventory due to these pre-retirees selling their homes and jumping on the idea of this 3-year-long travel? like we were talking about before the show, my Instagram feed is just riddled with people my age that seemingly don't have a job or maybe work remote, and all they're
Yeah.
doing is just traveling across the country, right?
Yeah.
So this is a pretty cool example of like people choosing to maybe sell their home, list their home. Maybe they don't buy something and they just decide to, hey, listen, I can work remote. Let's go travel the world for 3 or 4 years. So, Lindsay, Joe, I will start with you.
Yeah.
How do you see this potentially shaking out? Do you think this could affect the market in the future? Do you think this could be, less inventory, less people buying homes?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I could see a ton of millennials who are already working remotely, like jump on this ship for sure. I feel like they love to post pictures of their avocado toast. They love to be on their vacations and showcasing their luxury lifestyle. So I could see a lot of people kind of jumping on this for sure. I would love if a bunch of people did this because then that means more inventory for us. Because right now we are at the lowest point of inventory that we've been at in our market in the last 5 years. There's nothing for people to pick from.
Yeah. And according to the survey that they have here, 47% of young people between the ages of 18 and 34 would rather spend their money on travel than buying a house, compared to only 26% of those aged 45 and older who said the same. So if the idea catches on, again, like I was just saying, I mean, there's going to be a lot of millennials who maybe are deciding not to buy and they'd rather just take this time to travel while they can. At the same time, you might have people like I've never been on a cruise and I can't swim. So I'll be the first one to put both of those out there. I will never go on a cruise in my entire life,
Same.
but I can see a lot of people, adapting this and like, hey, listen, you know what? I can work from home. Let's go travel the world. Sold by Lindsay from Fort Lickerdale. Would you take a 3 year long trip here on a cruise?
It would be hard to get me to go on a 7-day cruise, so I think the 3 years is totally out of the question. I'm on the same page as you with that.
Can you
But
swim or no?
yeah, I'm a great swimmer, but
Okay.
it has nothing to do with that. Um, as far as how it's going to affect our market, it's hard to say if it's just one cruise ship. I don't know if it's big enough, margins of people on that cruise ship to really have a huge effect on all of our markets at once. That said, the people that I think that are going to be on this venture are the same people that would probably not even be buying anyhow. Maybe the people that would, deck out the bus or,
Mm-hmm.
RV trip or, spend that year or 2 or 3 on the gap year kind of discovering themselves. So I'll be interested to see what the actual age range is that makes the voyage.
Yeah, and in the show notes too, it was saying that a lot of these bigger cruise lines might adapt the strategy come like 2025. So I think this is kind of just like them testing it out. And in the next couple of years, this could be something that, major cruise lines do and offer. And maybe it's not
Yeah.
3 years, 2 years, but just like you said, my Instagram feed is also filled with people that are discovering themselves, doing the RV trip. This is a prime example. And it's so much cheaper too, right?
Yeah.
Like compared to your normal cruise. Lexi, how do you feel?
I think there's no way I would get on that cruise ship. First of all, and I can swim. I'm just petrified of cruises. I won't do it. But I mean, I was looking at the article and it said they were targeting age range 55 to 65. I think that would be great for listings. But, when it comes to like the younger generation, the millennials, the Gen Zs, they're not going to be buying homes. So that definitely could affect, our housing market. But like Lindsay was saying, as of right now, no, I don't think it's going to have any impact because, how many people can they realistically get on this ship? But, future date, potentially, a lot of people do like to travel, but I can't imagine being stuck on one cruise ship for 3 years. Like I see travel as in, going to different places the way I see fit, not being on a cruise ship. It's just like just stuck with all these people, disease.
I'm telling you, I've never been on one. I will never be on one. And again, I can't swim, so I will certainly not be doing that. But I think it will be interesting to see in the next couple of years if people just listen. Like I'm out. I'm going on this cruise. I'm going to travel the world. Right? Take this 2-3 year break. I could work remote.
Yeah.
Could be more inventory. Could be less people buying.
How
Definitely
many
could affect us.
people like our age though do you see that go on cruises? I mean, I don't.
I don't either, but I mean, again, I see them everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
if they could maybe do it all in one, like they're saying they're, seven wonders of the world, they're going to Brazil, it's literally
Yeah.
going everywhere. So like for the people that I see on my Instagram that are running up their credit cards, maybe traveling, they're going to one place, then another, they could just combine it all in one. Like, I don't know. I could see people doing it as crazy
I
as
could
that sounds.
too. I feel like it's another fad,
I wonder
right?
where they're
Where
getting these
like
funds.
in 2020, you know how we saw everybody who bought the van, they renovated the inside, they went and did a YouTube channel. Like, I feel like this is going to be another fad where these people are like, I could go for a 3-year long cruise and see all these places. Sign me up.
God, I hope I don't see any more RV buses on my feed.
If
I
you
like
think
the RV bus.
If you think about it too, like the interest that you're going to pay with like a 6 or a 7 or an 8% interest rate, like the interest over the year might be almost close to that 30,000 range. So if they want to take a gap year and they want to take some time to figure out where they want to be in life, I don't think it's a terrible idea for the right person.
Yeah, you have to be able to swim, that's for sure. All right.
Not us. We won't be on the maiden voyage, I don't think.
Absolutely not. Let us know in the comments if you would spend 3 years on a cruise ship, or if you prefer to travel on your own, or if you think this could have any implications on inventory or on our future real estate market. All right, on to topic number 2, and we may catch some ricochet heat from this, but unfortunately today I need to play heel Darth Byron and report the headlines. This news came out a couple months ago. I don't know why Inman just picked it up, but the Real Brokerage is raising their fees on the heels of a $20 million loss in 2022. I mean, everybody lost money at the end of 2022, so this is not really, anything surprising. But fee hikes for new and existing agents are set to begin April 1st and come after I'm quoting here, tumultuous 2022. When Real posted significant losses, the brokerage confirmed to Inman, please note this is, again, not surprising. So did everybody else. And we also have a ton of friends at Real. This is not us picking on them by any means. A lot of our listeners, a lot of our panels or panelists are Real agents that absolutely crush. So again, this is just me reporting the news. Real cranked up their fees for incoming agents to $249, which is up from $149, so $100, not a big deal. Annual brokerage fee from $500 to $750, and among other few changes. But really, I think the biggest one is the rev share. So when they came out with all this, they had 1,000 agents, right? So now they've reached or surpassed over 10,000. So as they quoted here, as we grew, we kind of got a better idea of what the profitability would look like per agent. We've attracted so many high-level agents that do a lot of business, and that those very, very large teams, so on and so forth, after they went through their cap, didn't contribute to the profitability of the company. So I'm curious for your guys' thoughts here, because profitability is everything, right? Like, they clearly made these, they set these standards when they had 1,000 agents. They've grown so quickly and so fast that now they have to make changes. I mean, and that's pretty normal. I don't really know why this is like a headline news. As somebody that, I have a team Ridge, like I've had to make changes, right? Where I've realized that, hey, this agent's capped. I need to kind of make some adjustments here, right? Like, because everything goes back to profitability. And I mean, they're talking about $100 of a change here, right? Like, instead of paying $149, you're paying $249. Instead of paying $500, you're paying $750. So I don't really see this, being a huge move or any huge news. And again, this came out a couple months ago, but you do see in the article that people are selling their stock. Some people are leaving. So I attribute it to just, growing pains as you expand so quick. But I'm interested to see your guys' thoughts and what you think. Lexi, you're with EXP, correct?
Lindsay is with EXP.
Lindsay, EXP. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see I want you first, because you are in a very similar model. What are your thoughts, and how would you feel if you were an agent with EXP and they kind of just came out and made these changes?
I think a lot of people attribute too much to their broker. Like you said, it's no dig on any agent whatsoever. Like, your brokerage is kind of just where you're hanging your license, where you think is the best vessel for you to reach your goals with. So like you said, no dig upon anyone that's being there. I think I agree. It's probably just a growing pain and like adjusting to the unforeseen things that have happened in the last couple of years. What is a little bit shocking, like you had mentioned, everyone did kind of take a hit in the revenue and the end of last year. But the point of a cloud-based brokerage is to have less overhead and have less expenses. So that's the only red flag that's going off in my head. That isn't that kind of counterintuitive that we are going backwards right now. And not, continuing a trajectory in the right direction. Now, you're always going to have people that jump ship when anything is like rocky, like even with the stock market. Those are day traders that, pull out all of their shares when the market gets a little bit rocky. So it's not to say that they can't improve. But as a cloud-based brokerage, I kind of want to be with one. I don't know. For me, no dig at anybody.
Say it. Listen, you're like catching yourself. Give us the hot take. We need some clips here.
I honestly think that Real is like the Walmart and EXP is like the Target. If you ask me, I'm sorry, that's just it. And maybe people, I think that there's a lot of hard hitters at Real, and
Yes.
they have been able to see the OGs, I'll say the original gangsters of EXP, get in at the right time and just make a killing on the revenue share. But now they've made that switch, and then to see that revenue share kind of changed, that's a little bit interesting. And I've heard it's not necessarily in anyone's favor per se. I think it is in favor in is the person that's signing up, because then you can choose someone in your local market who can kind of help you more on the day to day. But then you can also partner with a bigger person that might help you, exit the business one day. So I'll be interested to see how the model changes, and if it works, I hope it works for them.
Yeah. And listen, I mean, I know people I have a ton of friends that are there. There are a lot of people in the ecosystem with Tom Ferry that they make more money, a month off of their revenue share, right? Or the agents that they have underneath them, like a month than most agents make in a year. So it's interesting to see how that change could affect them and how could it affect maybe agents coming over in the future. But again, they've already surpassed 10,000 agents. Like Jason Cassidy, shout out to him. He's getting every day. I see his Instagram stories. More people are coming over. So this isn't like brand new news. I'm very surprised that Inman picked it up today or yesterday. This has been out for a while, but I am interested to see, how it plays out. And that was our clickbait right there.
Got it.
I mean, it's a newer company, isn't it?
What you say?
Real is a newer company.
It's not. It came out in 2014. Real's from 2014. It was founded in Toronto in 2014. I did my research. I did my homework. And it's just interesting. But you know what? These technology-based companies, like, they have been out a lot longer than we even realized, such as Netflix. Netflix has been around for like over 20 years or about 20 years. But until the technology need is there, and such as COVID, the ability for realtors to stay home and work from home kind of maybe drove a lot of people towards Real or towards EXP.
Yeah.
Agreed.
For somebody that said that you didn't have any notes and it was all up in here, like
crushing.
You on here,
she's all about EXP. She can talk all day. Yes.
It is. I'm incredibly impressed. I didn't know it came out in 2014. I feel like it just came around in the last 2 or 3 years.
That's
maybe
my
that's
thought.
when it adapted and Tim Macy and everybody, all the big hitters maybe joined, but that was a very impressive statistic, I will say.
It's one of those things too that when other companies are starting to do it, it's not a threat to my company, because it means that it's an acceptable practice. You know what I mean? Like, if other people are doing certain things, it's not a competition thing. It's kind of like, okay, a camaraderie, like, okay, we're doing more technology driven things.
Yeah. Lexi, what are your thoughts on the article? And do you see how it would impact maybe new agents coming over to Real? Is this kind of just non-news? What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's going to have a huge impact. I don't think, the change in their cost is significant enough. I think it's a newer company. I see it on social media all the time. I mean, I've even considered looking into it for myself. I don't think those fees would deter me at all. I mean, I think they're like a newer and up and coming brokerage. So I really don't see it being an issue, honestly.
Yeah. Lindsay Joe.
Makes me nervous. I just feel like they're growing so fast, right?
Mhm.
So, and I know that there were some really big names, and we won't mention names, but big people that were at Real that left and sold a bunch of stock. So it just makes me nervous when people start selling their stock. What does that tell you, right? When they start leaving,
yeah.
No.
I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to, be politically good. You guys are the panel here. You guys have to be the hot take ones. I'm just moderating. This is the girls show here.
I don't think it's going to have a huge impact. I mean, especially because you said this article is months old. I'm still seeing big agents on social media switch over to Real, so I'm not seeing the impacts.
And again, it's part of growing pains too. Like,
Absolutely.
from going from if they had the SOPs for from under 1,000 agents and now they're already surpassing 10,000, yeah, you have to make the changes. And especially after a year of where they're not the only company, everybody lost.
Even the brick and mortar, companies, they're raising their fees. Mine certainly did. So I think it's going to happen with every brokerage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's just because it's real and it's like a hot topic and people are talking about it that people are putting out articles. But if you ask any brick and mortar around here if their fees have increased or their payment structure has changed, I mean, it's just a normal part of the business.
Absolutely, and it's a part of growing too. Like, layoffs are happening. It's going to tie into our next topic pretty good. Lindsay Joe, you got to give me one. You got to give me a better hot take than just.
No,
I need
I'm
something.
nervous. I'm nervous for
Say it.
them. I'm just
Say it.
nervous for them.
For them, for real.
Okay.
For real.
All right. Well, if you're from Real, if you're one of our friends here, comment. Let us know if we articulated this the right way, the proper way. I'm sure we're gonna get heckled a little bit by some real agents, but we love you, and this was not a dig at you by any means. All right. Topic number 3. 2021 all over again. Agents get to work as spring home buying arrives. Also, take a second here. If you like what we're doing, make sure to like and comment, because this is the girls episode here.
Yeah.
All females. This is what people have been requesting. So throw us a like here, please. I really need it. I'm so nervous. All right. On the first day of spring, agents across the U.S. who spoke to Inman saw the return of bidding wars and busy open houses, suggesting that after a slow 2022, the market is turning a corner. It is a question that arose from a slowing market in 2022, or towards the end of 2022, when rising mortgage rates sapped demand for new loans. And suddenly, after 2 years of intense competition and endless bidding wars, both home buyers and sellers seemed to take a step back. The slowdown continued for the most of 2022, and all that trained all eyes on the spring. The spring officially started or began on Monday, and spring is typically, when it ignites the housing market after a long winter slumber, especially for me here in the Northeast. We were absolutely crushed Q4 of 2022, I would say. Everybody kind of just, stood on the sidelines. They weren't buying, they weren't selling, they wanted to wait. Now, fast forward into end of February, March, I'm losing out on multiple offer situations. We're having open houses with 60 to 80 people. People are waiving appraisals, they're waiving inspections. Like, it almost went from like, oh my God, I might be out of the business, to like within a month. Now it's like, is this 2021 again?
Mm-hmm.
So Lindsay Joe, I'll start with you. Are you seeing the same thing in your market? Are you seeing
Yeah.
these long lines? Are you seeing, people waiving contingencies, over asking offers?
Yeah.
What are you seeing?
All of that. Yeah. I mean, we wrote on an offer last week and we competed against 40 offers.
Oh my God.
40 offers. It's crazy. But it's interesting because mortgage applications are still down, but we're seeing these bidding wars because there's no inventory, right? You've got boomers who are aging in place. They're not moving. You have people who bought in 2020 and 2021, like me. I have a 3% interest rate. I'm not moving. And then you have millennials. Did you buy in same time too, Dan?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have millennials too. Half of them don't want to buy because they want to keep up appearances on Instagram with their luxury lifestyle. They want to post their avocado toast. And then the other half of millennials, I know I'm going to keep saying avocado toast today. But then the other half of millennials, they want to buy, but there's nowhere to put them, So.
Lexi, are you seeing this in your market?
Absolutely. I mean, the last few offers I've written on, we've had 10 plus offers. I actually did get a house under contract. We had 22 offers. We had to waive the appraisal contingency, no inspections at all. So it's really heating up here in Maryland and Pennsylvania, honestly.
Yeah.
You have to fight people to get houses right now, like literally.
It's crazy. I lost out on my first multiple offer situation in like 3 years. I have a close friend of mine that's pregnant right now. They're losing out on offers left and right because people are just, going $50,000, $75,000 over asking, waiving everything. And I don't want to put them in that position where, they could get, they're my friends, all my clients are my friends, but like, it's our job to advise people. And it's like, hey, listen, if you pay $800 for this house, you're not going to see that equity for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, how long do you plan on staying
in the house? Absolutely. Yeah. But no, we're definitely seeing a hot market here. It's been like that probably since the beginning of February.
Yeah,
pretty much every house. I mean, as long as it's buttoned up, staged nicely, priced a little bit under value, you're getting multiple offers for sure.
Even so, like we had Charles Weinraub, the handsome home buyer, who's an investor, a flipper, on last week, and he gives us a lot of his business, and he's been doing this. He calls it, not my words, his words, pump and dump strategy, where instead of buying the home and like renovate it and flipping it and putting it back up, he's literally just buying it as is and like maybe painting. Right. So like bare minimum, putting it back on the market, and he's still selling it for way over asking and still making a ton of money. So we're seeing that too, which is pretty interesting.
Wow. What market is he in?
He's in Long Island.
Okay.
But back to the Florida market too, we're seeing the same thing. It's like we're on the west coast of Florida, but multiple offer situations, investors, people coming from everywhere to buy. Lindsay, are you seeing the same thing?
So I'm working the Michigan market right now before my move all the way down to Florida. And I think it's important to note that my town, I told Lindsay this before, I'm from a town that has 2 stoplights. Okay. So I collect data from other markets and sort of like use it to forecast what's going to go on in my market because my market's a little bit slower behind. But I'm finding any house that's hotcakes, like Lexi said. If it's hotcakes, priced right, a forever home that can be for people who are in their early 20s, 30s, even retirees, like that perfect, price per square foot. I mean, you're always going to have multiple offer situations. I mean, except for, late 2022 when people were a little bit like, what's happening here? Is this a crash, sort of like paralysis? No. But like you said, it's only a matter of time before it happens for everybody. Florida is always going to be that way because of the no state income tax. We're always going to have people that are transplanting down for their pension reasons or, because they're making too much money bags over there.
Oh, no. I wasn't referring to
I'm just kidding. But it's always going to be a hot market in Florida because there's always going to be Airbnbs to be purchased and there's always going to be investment properties and there's always going to be rentals. But yeah, and like you said, it's part of being that professional that's like, guys, okay, I know that you really want it, but buying a home is an emotional sale. So you want to make sure that you have like an understanding and a grasp of how long they really truly plan on being there. Because the pump and dump might work for some people, but I don't think it's always the case,
No.
So you need to be careful and do your due diligence.
Yes.
And I've even had, people sign off on, I think it's very important. Like if you're going to have people waiving inspections and waiving approvals to sign some sort of release to cover your ass, because like, I would never recommend someone waive a home inspection. Like it's just hard. And you want to make sure that you have that in writing. Cause I've even said like multiple times, like, guys, are you sure? Are you sure? And then it comes back to bite you in the ass when there's a bad deck on the back of the house. And you're like, we got you the house. Like that's all you cared about in that moment.
What I always do is when I write up the offer, I say that we're waiving the inspection or that we're doing it for our own knowledge only. So at least like it gets us in the door. We do the inspection and then if there's something like, then we just blow up the deal but I will never have somebody not like, I can't in good faith, like not have somebody do an inspection. It's kind of insane. But in this article too, they talk about the report from NAR that existing home sales jumped 14.5% from January to February, which is reversing a year-long trend of a decline. So, and I know for my team, we went from, I don't know, 12 to 14 deals last month to we're already at like 30. Yeah, we heard is that your dog?
It's my dog. Can I put her outside?
Too, totally fine.
Okay.
Is your dog like scratching you?
No, I have hardwood floors and she's just like walking around.
Want to go out?
Yeah.
She might.
Yeah, we might want to hit the mute button.
Yeah.
Just for one sec.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Can I get up? Is that like allowed?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything goes here, right? This is the first ever all-female episode, I guess, where anything goes, right?
Dan and the ladies.
A little improv, my bad.
Little improv, no worries. All right. I guess any final thoughts here on back to 2021 market?
Put your helmet on, guys. And I think that we got a lot of people out of the industry that were scared. I mean, this is the job that we signed up for. There's going to be different economic things that are driving different factors. Like, get ready.
I actually have a question for you here, like sidebar. What are you doing to prepare to go from, you just said you live in a town or a city that has 2 subways and you're about to move to Fort Lauderdale.
2 stoplights. Stoplights, Dan, not subways. Stoplights. She doesn't even have Subway.
Yeah.
Do you even know what a Subway is?
Yes. Brooklyn the other day, bitch. Of course I know what a Subway is.
But so so you have 2 stoplights. And you're about to move to Fort Lauderdale.
Yes. What
are you doing to like prepare? Like give us some insight here.
I would love to. So, first of all, I work the best when my back's against the wall. That's when I like have the best drive and when I have the most like, let's get it, let's fucking go. Like there's money out there to be made. People are selling and buying homes every single day. Okay. I'm not the type that's like, oh, what was me? Like, I'm not going to have any clients, whatever. I'm going to work the shit out of my Michigan market. I've got people lined up to do my showings. and I'm gonna, have a buyer's agent
Wow.
fee, and I'm moving to a great area that is in a condo, but or surrounded the condo complex. Like I've scoped it out. They're all like $1 to $3 million homes. I'm gonna be a neighbor. I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Whatever
But you
that.
also have the benefit of social media, being very
Yeah,
present on social media. I mean, I feel like
true.
it'll be easier for you to switch in markets.
100%, because right now, Dan, nobody is sending me clients in St. Clair, Michigan. If they were sending me clients, I would say, are you sure you want to move here? Do you have any other options? Like, is this really what you want to do? But in Fort Lauderdale, I feel like I'll get so many more referrals. I have great relationships. I met these two beautiful women on social media. And I know if all three of you guys want to buy over in the Fort Lauderdale area,
Yeah.
I'm your girl. So I
There
look
you go.
forward to the challenge, honestly. And I used
Oh,
to live there too. So I used to live there. I lived there for 5 years. So I do know people. It's not like I'm picking up and like, where should I move to? Like, let's pick this little dot on the map. So I'm
yeah.
looking forward to it.
All right. Well, if you are if you're an agent and you have somebody that's moving down to Fort Lauderdale, make sure you reach
I'm your
out.
girl.
Well, that went from 0 to 100. I love it. All right. All right. We're gonna topic number 4, social media content. Speaking of which, 7 types of social media content to create right now. This is written by Vanessa and the BAM staff, and this is also a perfect time. Speaking of rock stars, if you're interested in taking your marketing game from rookie to rock star, look no further than Jason Pantana's Marketing Pro. We are true believers that marketing can make or break your brand and business. Become a marketing pro by purchasing one or all 3 of his modules, cracking the social code, Google Business Boss, and Inbox Hero. Our listeners will also get a 10% discount by using code BAMPRO at checkout. Visit www.tomferry.com/MVP to learn more. That's an ad read. Let's go. The link will be in the description. I crushed that.
You killed it.
You did.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm so nervous. All right. 7 types of social media content to create right now from BAM staff. What's the most effective type of social media content, you may ask? Well, HubSpot surveyed over 1,000 social media marketers to find out. And according to the report, the top 5 most effective types of social media are funny content, relatable content, trendy, authentic behind the scenes, and interactive content. I'm going to skim through the article because we talk about this basically every episode. But what I love the most were the examples that Vanessa shared and the BAM staff gave, not only because I'm on it, but Taya's 2 cents, Brooks Landry's What Buyers Want, Byron's behind the scenes content, Lisa Trinati's This or That, Tom Toole's green screen educational videos, and Paige Steckling's trend jacking videos. And you guys, all 3 of you, crush social media, so we're going to get to it in a second. But right before we hopped on this, Tom Toole, who is like the guru, the guy literally holds a WWF, belt around with him because he's the objection handler. He's been in the business for 30 years. I know that he's the guru, right? I know that he's the know-all, he's a genius, but he never really put himself out there on social media the way that he is now, getting with BAM and doing the green screens. He's like, I can't believe this. I'm getting, 5 or 10 recruiting calls a day. People are reaching out to me like I'm a celebrity. I'm like, yeah, Tom, like we all knew that, but you weren't putting yourself out there. Now people are
Yeah.
starting to see, right? So what are you guys doing right now that is working? Lindsay Joe, I'll start with you because
Yeah.
300 people commented on the last,
Aw.
walkthrough episode that you were on. So clearly you're doing something right. You have a legitimate, I don't want to use the word cult, but you have a legitimate fan base that is
Yeah.
ravenous for you. So what are you doing on social right now?
Yeah.
And what do you find that is working?
So I have 2 content buckets. I'll typically pick from either funny or relatable. Funny will always get you a lot of engagement for sure. I feel like people don't really go to Instagram to learn. They go to unwind and laugh. So in my opinion, like the education stuff is not going to get you as much engagement as the funny content, but relatable for sure. I mean, some of my most engaged posts were from me when I shared struggles, and just being open and honest and being like, guys, this job kind of sucks sometimes. And you'll be so surprised that when you put it really does. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. You'd be so surprised that when you put yourself out there in an authentic way, you get so many people that come to you and thank you for just being real and being like, you know what, this job does really suck. And then that's how you really cultivate those friendships. I try to give value to people first before I ever ask them to do anything for me. So if you come and you support them and you give value to them, when you ask them like to go comment on a YouTube episode, they will jump for you. They will be like, how high? I will love to support you because you've given me so much over the past year. So,
Jump is like the understatement of the year. I've never seen anything like it. Like we
yeah.
thought you like hired bots at one point to comment on the video, and then we were like looking at their profiles, like, no, these are real
No
people.
way. You looked
No,
into
I
it
swear.
that much? That's so funny.
There were, well, not like that much, but when you get
Yeah.
200 comments, like go Lindsay Joe, right? Like
Yeah.
we don't get that. So you have a fan base. Clearly, what you're doing is working. Lexi, what are you doing that is working for you?
I go for funny because I'm funny as fuck.
She is. She's hilarious.
And that's how I get, honestly, most of my followers. I go for what works for me, what I find funny. And that's how I attract people. I mean, I go for educational normally in the caption instead of, in the actual video, because like Lindsay Joe was saying, people don't want educational. When people get on social media, they're getting on there to unwind, the get away from the everyday stressors of life, and they're getting on there to laugh. So that's what works for me. I also like incorporating everyday life and, being authentic. So when people meet me, they know exactly what they're getting. I'd like to think I'm more of a shit show online than anything, but people tend to enjoy it. And, like Lindsay Joe was saying, like, that's how you build your army. That's how you build your tribe of people who are going to support you. And it works.
Yeah. Lindsay, what are you doing? And what are you going to do? Are you going to change any content now that you are moving markets?
Yeah, I am. I am gonna do more like things to do in Fort Lickerdale. I'm sorry. Because I actually have a market that I can talk about like that, because people want to know what's going on in Fort Lauderdale. Like I envy the people who are out in Boise, or like you, like, or have ties in Tampa, or even Lindsay's out in DC, where it's like there are people who want to know what's going on in these markets. So I'm excited about that. But my social media strategy has just been, I want to entertain the people, and the days of getting a lot of views from like dancing around being like closing costs, like down payment, like it's just gone. Stop, make it go away. Like it can't.
Agreed. Stop.
It's plugging up the real feed. It really is. You got to be like, and actually, Dan, one of the reasons why I started following you years ago is because you were kind of ahead of, I won't say kind of, you were ahead of like, let's take this a little bit further. Let's get some professional video going on. Like, let's take 5 fucking minutes to think about what we're going to post, instead of just like, oh, I love that audio, let's do it. Like, it's just like, guys, take a second to think about how it's going to be received, for one, what kind of traction it's going to get, for two. And like Lindsay said, like, these two are my girls. Like, if they need something, I'm there. I'm like, what do you need? And Lindsay and I and Lexi and I have always just been value forward. Like, if something's working for me, I share it with Lindsay and I share it with Lexi, because they're my girls and I know the same in return. So I think it's about building those relationships and giving that value up front, and stop gatekeeping. Like, guys, like, I posted on my thing yesterday that like Elon Musk, like, he doesn't like patents because it's just for the weak-minded. Like, guys, share what works. Like, the days of gatekeeping are over. Like, no one can actually come in and like steal your followers and steal your success if you share with them what works. So I think it's just a value forward. Let people get to know you, who the real you is in your stories, and just make people laugh. Totally. That's the strategy.
Well, and what I loved about what all of you guys said too is just being being yourself, right? So you're the same person that, like, we're all on Zoom right now. We're live essentially, but before we got on this, like, this is how we all were, right? Like, so when you meet these people, right? Like, I haven't had to pitch a listing in a long time. I haven't even had to really bring like listing paperwork, because I'm just myself. I'm the same way. Maybe I'm a little bit nervous now, but I'm the same way in person than I am on my videos. And I'm sure you guys are all the same way. And that's why it's truly being authentically yourself, and the humor works, the relatability works. We all have kind of like the same content strategies. I'm really impressed too that like you are able to build it in an area where there's literally 2 stoplights.
Yeah.
Like, I have a little bit easier being in New York, and like you said, in Florida, and I think we all do.
Yep.
But if I was in an area with 2 stoplights, like, how many people live there total? Like 5,000 people?
10,000. And that's why I turned to social media. But I think bigger than the people that are around me. So it's kind of like being a big fish in a small pond. There's an advantage to that. And now, but when you get too big for that pond, you move to a lake, and then you move to the ocean. And I'm kind of going right to the ocean here with South Florida, but I'm ready. I'm ready.
Literally, pun intended.
Right. And like you said too, just now, wait a second. No, I totally just forgot what I was saying, but you said something totally that was accurate. What did you just say about
being authentically yourself?
Being authentic. Oh, no. That was it. I was just at Jeff Glover. You guys know who Jeff Glover is. I'm sure he's like the #1 agent in Michigan. Maybe you guys don't know who he is. But he just said, and it was really, really true. What you just said, Dan, was that people hire their realtors before you even get there. So like the need for like having like all your papers together and like the presentation has kind of gone away with the authenticity side of social media. If you think that people aren't researching you and Googling you and looking at your stupid reels before you get there, they are. And
For
those are the kind
sure.
of people that you want to work with, honestly, the people that call you even
Yeah.
after they see you acting a fool with a mullet on, Lindsay.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't want to
That'd be
work
a
with if you
crush.
don't want to work with me because I'm wearing a mullet, I probably don't want to work with you. You're probably going to be a horrible buyer. I'm probably going to hate my life for the next 2 months. It's just going to be better that you just don't call me. If you're that offended, if you're that I mean, if you're that offended that I'm wearing a mullet or a beard, you don't have a sense of humor. I probably don't want to work with you. Sorry.
Lindsay, do you ever, and
Yeah.
this is my last question for you, Lindsay Joe, I should say, do you ever have any, like, I mean, you kind of just said it, but do you ever have any like hesitation on posting videos like that? Because I do sometimes, like, there are times where I'm like, all right, maybe this is a little, like, I have an alien video, right, that I've been
Yeah.
sitting on, and I'm like, is this funny? Is this kind of like cringe? Is this weird? Are people gonna like, if
Post
someone
it.
looks at my profile, they're gonna be like, this kid doesn't sell, $4 million houses. He's dressing up as an alien. So do you ever
Yeah.
have those thoughts, or you're just like,
I do, and it's something that I'm working on. I'm trying to figure out what's the line, right? Because I did this one video where I was tied up in the bathroom talking shit about buyers. And that one I feel like probably went a little too far because if somebody ever looks at my profile and they see that, if one of my buyers saw that, they'd be like, well, she's talking shit about buyers. So I'm trying to figure out what the line is of being funny because I want to be different, right?
mhm.
I'm trying to figure out that line. It's hard. I don't think any
Yeah,
of us have it really figured out.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think we all second guess our content, but as far as like talking shit about your buyers or other agents, that stuff turns me off as a real estate agent. So
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a fine line you have to walk. And normally a lot of my content I get from everyday life or from working with my clients. And I usually try to get permission from them if it's something serious that I'm posting about, just so I feel a little bit better about myself. Like, okay, they don't mind. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I usually just exaggerate, right? So like I'll take something that happened in person and then I'll exaggerate it, or I'll use it to like self-deprecating, right? Like I can't open up a lockbox. The other day I had I don't know if you guys have this in your market, but like it's called Century Lockbox.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
it's a
they're awful.
Bluetooth thing. You'd like pay like $85 a month. God forbid you don't have cell phone service. So I went to
It's
the
the
showing.
worst.
It's the worst. I couldn't even open the door. I looked like the biggest jabroni ever. So I try to use that as like, self-deprecating. Like it's whatever. It's a normal mistake, right? I didn't have service. Sorry, I have T-Mobile. Blame them, not me. But I try to use that for my content and then make others laugh. And it goes back to who are you attracting, right? Like
Yeah.
you're making videos for your consumers, for your clients, not necessarily for other agents,
Mhm.
right? Like it's kind of who you're focusing on. So like Lindsay Joe, you mentioned, maybe, talking poorly about your buyers might not be the best idea. But
Yeah.
again, it depends on who you're trying to reach with that content and with that video and with your
Yeah.
brand.
Yeah. Who's your target audience?
I think
Yeah.
reaching. Oh, sorry, Linz. Go ahead, babe.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking that like it honestly takes a conscious switch of like what is this message going to go across, right? Because like, are we thinking about the amount of views and amount of likes and amount of like followers that are going to hit our inbox or whatever, or are we thinking about like how this is serving the marketplace and like how it's going to be received? Because as like micro influencers, like as far as like us three ladies go, I mean, and whatever it is, it's like being an influencer in our market. We have a lot of leverage and we have a lot of pull and like determining like how other people feel about the market. So use that power for good. Don't like scare the public. Don't be like, oh my God, like this is, like multiple offer situations. I think it's just like takes that conscious switch and also like a girl group of people that you can send it to. Because Lindsay will send me her stuff and Lexi will send me her stuff and be like, is this good? Maybe you just need a girl group.
How do I get in this? How do I get
We
in
already
there?
have a group chat. Set it in there.
There you go.
No,
There's
you're not.
already a thread.
Dan is not invited to our group chat.
I do.
Oh, come on.
I'm just kidding.
I need the most guidance of all of us.
Um,
I want to see this alien video though.
Me too.
no, you'll never see it.
I'm
It'll probably never
curious.
see the light of day, truthfully.
Deleted them.
But listen, that's content, right? That is
Yeah.
that's just the name of the game. Sometimes we're in our own heads. I'm sure the
Mm-hmm.
video would do great, but again, I got to make sure, like that line that Lindsay Joe was talking about, I got to make sure that I don't make myself look foolish, because the funny videos and that content is great to build a brand. It's great to get the followers. And Lindsay, you have, I mean, probably 5 times the amount of people that live in your city following you. But at the same time, it's a good way to bring them there. But then you have to add value and you have to make sure that you're doing the right thing and educating and So anyway, any final
Yeah.
thoughts? First ever all ladies show and me. Any final thoughts? Thank you all so much for being here.
We
I'm
want to
so
hear
grateful.
your
Thank you.
thoughts, Dan. How was your thoughts with the first ever all ladies?
I've been unconscious for 46 minutes. I have absolutely no idea. So I guess
Blacked out. Got it.
I browned out for sure.
I think we're going to get a lot of engagement, honestly.
Yeah.
We're going to bring
will.
our armies.
Troops.
We'll crush.
Troops. Do what you do, Lynn.
We need the troops. We need comments. We need likes. We need all of the above. I want in on that group, on that engagement, like whatever it is. I want in on it. Thank you guys so much for. How can we find you guys? Can we get some Instagram handles here?
Who's going to start? Me?
Yeah, you go, Lex.
Okay, I'm Lexi D. Pasquale, realtor.
Okay, I'm Lindsay Joe, LINDSE _Y_Joe. Don't make fun of me. It was all that was available in 2012. Okay.
We're gonna simple that one down. You know her, you love her. I'm sold by Lindsay with a LINZI. So definitely a different way of spelling. But yeah, this has been awesome. It's been so
Do
great.
I need to switch to like Lexi D? Somebody told me that's a stripper name though. Lexi D.
Ooh. Lexi D is the main.
All right, ladies. He's trying to wrap it up.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's, another episode of The Walkthrough.